The creation of the Icelandic hot springs is a fascinating tale that intertwines geology, history, and mythology. To understand how these natural wonders came to be, we must first delve into the geological forces that shaped Iceland itself. Iceland is a relatively young landmass, formed by volcanic activity over the past 16 to 18 million years. It sits atop the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, a divergent tectonic plate boundary where the North American and Eurasian plates are slowly pulling apart. This unique location makes Iceland one of the most geologically active places on Earth, with frequent volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and geothermal activity. The story of Iceland's hot springs begins millions of years ago, when magma from the Earth's mantle began to rise through the gap created by the separating tectonic plates. As the magma reached the surface, it cooled and solidified, forming the bedrock of Iceland. Over time, repeated volcanic eruptions built up layers of lava and ash, creating the island we know today. The volcanic activity also created a network of underground fissures and chambers, which allowed water to seep deep into the Earth's crust. This water was heated by the magma and then rose back to the surface, forming hot springs. The first recorded evidence of hot springs in Iceland dates back to the settlement period in the 9th and 10th centuries. The Norse settlers, who arrived from Scandinavia, were quick to notice the steaming pools of water scattered across the landscape. These early Icelanders were both awed and intimidated by the geothermal activity. They believed that the hot springs were connected to the supernatural world, and many legends grew up around them. One of the most famous legends involves the god Thor, who was said to have created the hot springs by striking the ground with his mighty hammer, Mjolnir. According to the legend, the heat from the springs was a gift from Thor to the people of Iceland, providing them with warmth and healing. In addition to their mythological significance, the hot springs played a crucial role in the daily lives of the early settlers. The geothermal energy was used for cooking, bathing, and even washing clothes. The settlers also discovered that the mineral-rich waters had therapeutic properties, and they began to use the hot springs for medicinal purposes. This tradition continues to this day, with many Icelanders and visitors alike flocking to the hot springs for their healing benefits. One of the most famous hot springs in Iceland is the Geysir, located in the Haukardalur Valley. The name Geysir comes from the Icelandic word geyser, which means to gush. The Geysir is one of the oldest known geysers in the world, and its eruptions have been documented since the 13th century. The Geysir's eruptions can reach heights of up to 70 meters, and they are a spectacular sight to behold. However, the Geysir is not always active, and its eruptions have become less frequent over the years. Despite this, the area around the Geysir is still home to numerous other hot springs and geysers, including the famous Strokr, which erupts every few minutes. Another notable hot spring is the Blue Lagoon, located on the Reykjanes Peninsula. The Blue Lagoon is a man-made geothermal spa, but its waters are naturally heated by the volcanic activity beneath the surface. The lagoon's milky blue waters are rich in silica and other minerals, which are believed to have healing properties for the skin. The Blue Lagoon has become one of Iceland's most popular tourist attractions, drawing visitors from all over the world. The geothermal activity in Iceland is not limited to hot springs and geysers. The country is also home to numerous volcanoes, many of which are still active. One of the most famous eruptions in recent history occurred in 2010, when the Eyjafjallajökull volcano erupted, sending a massive cloud of ash into the atmosphere. The eruption disrupted air travel across Europe for several days, but it also served as a reminder of the powerful forces at work beneath Iceland's surface. The geothermal energy generated by Iceland's hot springs and volcanoes is not only a source of natural beauty but also a valuable resource. Iceland is a world leader in the use of geothermal energy, with nearly 90% of its homes heated by geothermal power. The country has also developed a thriving geothermal energy industry, which provides electricity and hot water to its residents. This reliance on renewable energy has made Iceland a model for sustainable living, and it has helped to reduce the country's carbon footprint. The hot springs of Iceland are also deeply intertwined with the country's culture and history. The early settlers believed that the hot springs were inhabited by spirits and elves, and they often left offerings at the springs to appease these supernatural beings. This belief in the hidden people, or huldufolk, is still prevalent in Iceland today, and many Icelanders take great care to avoid disturbing the natural landscape, lest they anger the spirits. In addition to their cultural significance, the hot springs have also played a role in Iceland's political history. During the 13th century, the Althing, Iceland's ancient parliament, met at Thingvellir, a site located near several hot springs. The Althing was one of the first democratic assemblies in the world, and it played a crucial role in shaping Iceland's legal and political system. The hot springs at Thingvellir were used for bathing and relaxation by the members of the Althing, and they became a symbol of the unity and cooperation that were essential to the functioning of the assembly. The hot springs of Iceland have also inspired countless artists, writers, and musicians over the centuries. The Icelandic sagas, which were written in the 13th and 14th centuries, often feature hot springs as settings for important events. In more recent times, the hot springs have been celebrated in poetry, music, and visual art. The famous Icelandic singer Björk, for example, has written songs about the geothermal landscape of her homeland, and her music often incorporates the sounds of bubbling hot springs and erupting geysers. In conclusion, the creation of the Icelandic hot springs is a story that spans millions of years, from the geological forces that shaped the island to the cultural and historical events that have taken place around them. The hot springs are a testament to the power and beauty of nature, and they continue to play a vital role in the lives of Icelanders today. Whether you are soaking in the warm waters of the Blue Lagoon, watching the eruptions of the geyser, or simply marveling at the steam rising from the ground, the hot springs of Iceland are a reminder of the incredible forces that have shaped our world. As we reflect on the history and significance of these natural wonders, it is important to remember that they are not just a source of beauty and inspiration, but also a valuable resource that must be protected and preserved for future generations. The geothermal energy generated by the hot springs has the potential to provide clean, renewable energy for centuries to come, but it is up to us to ensure that this resource is used responsibly and sustainably. By doing so, we can continue to enjoy the benefits of the hot springs while also protecting the delicate balance of the natural world. In the end, the story of the Icelandic hot springs is a story of resilience, adaptation, and harmony with nature. From the early settlers who first discovered the healing powers of the geothermal waters to the modern Icelanders who harness their energy for sustainable living, the hot springs have been a source of strength and inspiration for the people of Iceland. As we look to the future, let us remember the lessons of the past and strive to live in harmony with the natural world, just as the Icelanders have done for centuries.